Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the Bishop, the Tier 5 British SPG. This one's located on the east spawn of Sand River Encounter, and it's under the command of hossballs. Now, the battle has already started because we didn't get a countdown, but we've started the replay at the 15-minute mark, and we're about to go into action. Now you can see that hossballs has got 3 marks of excellence on the barrel of his 25-pounder. In fact, actually, that's a 4.5-inch howitzer, although the Bishops actually only had 25-pounders in them. It's based on the hull of the Valentine II, a 25-pounder mounted in a superstructure, which is fairly thin, and it was a stopgap engineering solution to the lack of SPGs in the British forces for the fighting in the desert. Okay, well, we've noticed an enemy Cromwell just over the side of that ridgeline. The Bishop has a fairly short range, as you can probably see from the mini-map, and it doesn't have a huge amount of damage as well for its alpha. It's only 450, capable of penetrating 28mm of armor and a 2.2 meter burst radius. But what it does have is a very fast reload. You can see there, 10.08 is the amount that hossballs has got, but the standard reload is 12.37. Now, a 25-pounder round was actually 87.6mm in caliber, and it can either fire HE or armor piercing. And so it was actually capable of doing direct fire. But the elevation of the howitzer was only to 15 degrees, and that meant that it couldn't fire very far. You can see he's firing at the cap area at the moment. He managed to get a reset on the KV-1S. But hossballs has got this very unusual technique, which is not, well, other people do it as well, but they look away after they shoot, and it's actually a psychological thing, because we know that he does look sometimes and watch what actually happens, so you've got to reset there. But other times he will look away because he doesn't want to see the damage being done. We have actually discussed this at length. Okay, KV-1S has come back into the sight, so he's aiming carefully to try and get a shot on the engine deck. Rounds out. Well, that definitely hit. In fact, it set fire to the KV-1S. And he's managed to pick up a healthy amount of hit points off that one. 145 from the impact, 67 from the fire. And he got another direct hit there. So that KV-1S probably doesn't have much left in the way of health. Another direct hit on the engine deck. You see how accurate this Arty is. Incredibly accurate if you know how to play it. He's tracked the guy and he's not moving away. And in fact, actually, he gets wiped out by an AMX ELC Biz. So, what more can I tell you about the Bishop? Well, they only made 149 of them because, well, it was pretty bad, actually. Pretty crap is the word I would actually call it. He's got a lovely hit there on the P-43. It was basically just an engineering solution they cobbled together fairly quickly. They had plenty of Valentine tanks, and they could easily fit a 25-pounder howitzer on top of the Valentine if they took the turret off. And he's got a kill, the P-43. The only problem was that the Valentine tank is a infantry tank, so it doesn't go very fast. In fact, in the game, it only goes 24 kilometers an hour. Very slow indeed, snail's pace, you might say. But it does have very good solid mount, very accurate. You see, he hit that that Cromwell, even though he was firing at some distance away. Got a very accurate shot, even though the Cromwell was dead. Narrowly missed hitting the AMX 12-ton there. So the scores are even at the moment, but it looks like the enemy's trying to get a quick cap, and well, KV-1SA takes a hit. He's accurately placing the shells on the target. Waiting for the reload to complete. Now he's going to fire through that gap. Nope, decides not to. Now he does. Just misses the turret. Got a 4TTP, and it's a very narrow aim. Okay, he's waiting for the reload. Rounds out. And he gets another kill. You see, in the hands of the right person, this artillery can be incredibly dangerous to the enemy. except the only problem is, as I say, you have to get very close to the enemy to make it work. And that means knowing all the firing positions you can use without getting shot at by the enemy. Another accurate hit, this time on the Matilda 4, 129, and he's out the game, taken out by our chappie. Well, the enemy are down by 4. Well, they were down by 4, they're now down by 3. There's only 5 of them left. We're looking towards the north, and an SMV CC56 has come into view. It's a 2 replay video, by the way. Okay, he's lining up the shot, working out where to put the shell. Rounds out. That looks good. Yep, lands right on top of the SMV, and he's picked up another 164. He's already picked up 1,615 hit points of damage already in this tier 7 game with tier 5 tanks. Got another hit on the engine deck. Can he get the kill shot? Rounds out. No, the kill shot goes to the Tiger P. So only 2 kills so far. There's only 3 enemies left. They've got 2 Artys, an SU-8 and an SU-122A, and a Turan 3, which is actually a Hungarian tank, but it's in the German tech tree. So the Bishop wasn't very successful. They only built 149, and 49 of those were given brand new to the Turkish nation because the British didn't really want them after a while. They did use them, the ones they kept, in the Italian campaign. So they're not only used in North Africa, but also up the back of Italy, up the spine. And it did work to a certain extent. And the game is already over because they've killed the last enemy, Arty. Here's the end of battle results, and that was an ace tanker game for hossballs in the Bishop. He managed to get a bruise medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in this game. He managed to get 14. He got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in that game overall. And his win 8 from the game, 8,134. So, yes, Klaus Kellerman, when he played this, Arty, he didn't come off so well. But if you get the hang of it, if you take some time to practice it, you can actually get as good as this. You can get ace tankers. In fact, I've seen people manage to get Radley Waters and Pools medals in a Bishop. So yes, it can be deadly in the right hands. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, he managed to get 2,539 hit points of damage, highest damage in the game. Second highest damage actually turned out to be the SU-152 on his team with 1,515. And the third highest damage, well, that went to the Thunderbolt on the enemy team with 1,500 hit points. When it came to kills, it was the M44, but he shared the top spot with the SMV CC56 on the enemy team. They both got 3 kills, but hossballs managed to get joint second place because he got 2 kills, so did the Chaffee, and so did the Thunderbolt on the enemy team. And when it came to base XP, yes, the hossballs got that one too, so he's got the top in 2 columns. 911 experience points, rather. 778 went to the T34, and 743 went to the Chaffee. He only fired 23 rounds in that game. You actually get 39 rounds top ammo in the game, so he did fire a fair amount of his ammo in it. 15 direct hits on the enemy, 1 penetrating shot, and 15 splash. Now, I think we did actually see the penetrating shot in that game. Was it the P43? No, it wasn't, funnily enough. He didn't get the pen on that guy. He didn't pen the 40TP, which was one that he did manage to kill. Was it the other KV1? KV1SA. No, there was a KV1SA there. No. Was it the Matilda? No. I'm looking down the list. Ah, there it is. The SMV CC56, right up in the north. One of their best players actually got an engine around that went through the engine deck and took him out. That's the thing about the shell, the trajectory of the shell, is it coming down almost vertically on top of the enemy. And of course, it gets all the weak armor on top of the vehicle, on the engine deck and on the turret. And so it is very easy to pen. Even though it's only got 28 millimeters of pen, it can still go through the weakest armor in the weakest spot because the shell's coming down almost vertically. So, yes, he got a hit on the CC56. When it came to splashes, he got 15, 2,539 hit points of damage, of which 2,417 were at more than 300 meters. So he did get some shots fairly close range. 7 enemy vehicles were damaged, 2 were killed, 9 hit points of damage assistance caused. He also got 23 defense points when he was resetting the cap with KV-1S in it. On a free-to-play account, he actually earned 60,350 credits, and he also took away 1,822 experience points altogether. So the first battle is an ace tanker, but I did say it's a 2 battle replay, so let's have a look at the second one. And the second replay has already started again. So yeah, there must be some problem with the countdown. Now, this battle actually took place a few months before, and you can see that hossballs has only got 2 marks of excellence showing on his barrel. We now know he does have 3 because we saw that in the previous game. But anyway, this one is on the east spawn of Malinovka, and he's still playing the bishop. In fact, hossballs is kind of an expert when it comes to the bishop, and he knows how to play it very, very well indeed. Now again, you can see the maximum range. See, it's very short range Arty. It's very easy to get spotted by the enemy because it's so tall. In fact, that did come into effect during the war. The superstructure, actually, it was named the bishop because it looked like the mitre, or the pulpit that the bishop would actually have to actually preach to the congregation. And in fact, the British always named their arties after clerical figures. Now, they actually started designing it in June of 1941, and they had the prototype by August of 1941, so only a couple of months to put the thing together. And basically what they did is just take off the turret and basically put the 25-pounder gun on top of it, and then put plate steel around it for the superstructure. So it was just a slapdash project. They started building them in 1942 and produced, originally 100 was ordered, and they eventually increased that order to 149, but they decided after a short while of use that it wasn't very practical, mainly because it couldn't carry a huge amount of ammunition, so they actually had to tow a trailer behind the tank to carry all the ammunition they needed to use it in battle. And as you may know from the lectures by various people at the Tank Museum, it actually cannot putting a trailer behind a tracked vehicle can actually work out to be very detrimental, because it slows you down and makes it very difficult to reverse without getting a jackknife. No sign of the enemy up on the hill, which is very strange indeed. But from this position, he possibly can get around on that AMX CLC, who's probably going to try and park behind that rock for cover. Okay, we're anticipating his behavior. He's dialed in, rounds out, and narrowly misses him. But I think the AMX now realizes what a mistake he's made, because he is now in grave danger. He's decided to turn around and drive away. Oh no, he's turning around and he's trying to go back. Rounds out. And that's the end of his game. You see, he made a big mistake going to the rock in the first place. And once he was under fire, he should have just turned around and run back to his own lines, but he didn't. And therefore he paid for it, and he's now in the garage. Well, the enemy RT knows where we are, because they've just tried to counter battery us. And you can see the shell from the enemy coming over, and they've got a PP, the 105 FH-18B2, and those are the 2 shells you just saw come in, and a gorilla. Now, it's not the gorilla who's actually firing at us, it's definitely the enemy Fifi. Fifi La Pew Pew is her name. She's French, she fires a lot, and that's how she got the name. Well, he's stopped counter-batterying because I don't think he knows where hossballs is. He's actually lost track of us. But hossballs is still staying there just for the moment. I get the feeling the enemy Arty is down in that little dip near their cap area. And there's the gorilla. The gorilla's been spotted by our teammates. hossballs extending his aim. Doesn't use the usual method with the control button and the right click on the mouse. But he did kill the gorilla with his first shot. So yes, counter battery does work in reverse as well. The enemy does need to be careful. Now, he's moved slightly to one side just in case the enemy Fifi decides to fire on him again, because he's been firing on the wrong position. With 2 tanks down on the enemy at the moment, but they've lost half of their artillery support and we've lost half as well. Now he's decided to change his position. And we've just lost another tank in the enemy area. In fact, we're 3 tanks down on the enemy now. Well, they've evened the scores up a bit, but you can see that hossballs has actually decided to drive into enemy territory. He's fairly confident that he can do a fair amount of damage. Now, I'm actually, way before they did the HD maps, I actually took out a T1 heavy tank with a couple of shots right to the side of the vehicle with a bishop. They can be very, very effective and very fast to reload. Okay, enemy PP spotted, rounds out. He did take some damage. Now, can we get a shot to kill him off? We're guessing where he is now. Rounds out. And he's killed him! So he's killed both of the enemy Arty now. And that changes things a little because the scores have evened up. Again, he's staying in this particular very close range mode. He's getting as close as he can to the enemy without actually getting spotted. Now, if you did see that game where Klaus Kellerman played the bishop a while back, you probably noticed that he found it virtually impossible to play the bishop in the way he was playing it. I think he just didn't know where he needed to go in order to get the most accurate hits on the enemy. You do need to practice with this artillery, so you can't just take it out and straight away get accurate shots. You need to learn and see videos of how bishops are played by other players and try and understand their technique and how they manage to do it. I mean, you can take one out of the box, but you probably won't be as successful and you'll probably have the same problems that Klaus Kellerman did. Well, we've got a T-67 come up to try and spot for us. And hopefully, if he finds some enemy, we can then nail them for him. Yep, he's going to go to that copse just up ahead. And from this position, we should be able to get nice hits on the enemy. Interesting fact for you about the bishop is that it can only elevate the gun to 15 degrees. So that limited the range of the Arty. Most Arty in the Second World War could actually fire about 10,000 meters, so 10 kilometers from their firing position. But the bishop was limited to only 6 kilometers, only 5,900 meters actually. And so it was very limited range. And that meant it had to get very close to the enemy if it wanted to score hits. And so what they did is they actually built a mound which they could then drive the bishop up over and elevate the gun even higher so they could shoot further. So you'll often see pictures of bishops which are on ramps and they're firing at the enemy. Now he's blind firing now and he's getting hits because that last shell definitely hit the Su-152. The T-67 is moving in to try and spot the enemy for us. And yes, he's actually just killed the IKV-103 there. It wasn't an Su-152. Okay, an enemy Hetzer was around that region as well. Now, it might be a good idea if hossballs was to go down onto the ramp, which is just to his left. T-67's moved over to try and spot at the edge of the forest, the edge of the wood. So he stopped at the woods there, the trees, to give him a bit of cover. Now, the enemy Hetzer was seen on the minimap just a short distance away. He's still got plenty of ammo. We're now 2 tanks up on the enemy, and 2 enemy tanks have just been spotted in our rear and actually next to our cap area. So the T-67, I think he's going back to try and get resets on those guys. But hossballs will probably stay where he is for the moment. I think one of those enemy tanks, the Panzer III, has been taken out. Just a Matilda left after that too. Now he's probably going to take a few blind shots, and he's going to fire at the positions where he expects the enemy tanks to be. And he's just killed the Su-85B with his first shot. Yes, he correctly guessed there'll be a tank hiding behind that rock. There usually is, because it's a good firing position. So he's got another kill now. That's 5 kills. He could actually get a top gun if he can get another one. Now he's waiting for the chappie to go in and do a quick scout. Will he find anyone? All the Arty are dead on the enemy team. It's just their... the only tank they've got left is that Hetzer. Now, last seen in the woods, round about this position. Chappie hasn't found him yet, but you notice how he's backing up. He's still in battle assistance, so he's still aiming. He just likes this tactical view, hossballs. Not everybody plays this way with Bishop. Oh, there he is! Now, is he within range? Oh, no, he's not. You see, we've got a flattened reticule. And the chappie is trying to take on the Hetzer on his own. We're desperately trying to move up. That's why the reticule's blown. Now, rounds out. Snapshot. Lands next to the Hetzer. He needs to let it dial in. Unfortunately, the chappie did die, but can we get another accurate shot on the guy as he pulls away? Well, trying to work out his course. Oh, no, he changed course directly after that. So the T-67's now going in to try and finish off that Hetzer. We know he's right up in the A row. T-67 being very cautious. It'll probably be a proximity spot. Yes, there he is. And he takes him out with one shot from the 76mm main gun. Well, sadly, that kill by the T-67 denied hossballs a top gun, but he did get a first-class tanker out of that game, as well as a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He got 5 kills in the end, 1/3 of the enemy team, and 1 short of getting a top gun. He got a counter battery fire medal because he took out both enemy SPGs, the Gorilla and then the Fifi. And he also took out got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 16 in that game. And his win rate in this game, 5,576, which is Super Unicum standard and quite a bit more. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in this game because that went to the T-67. He picked up a high caliber and a Confederate in the game for 1,718 hit points. In second place was hossballs with 1,601. And in third place was the Stug 3 Aslains G on the enemy team with 1,164 hit points of damage. When it came to kills, hossballs got that one. 5 kills to him, 3 kills to the T-67 and the chappie, and 2 kills went to the B1 on our team, the Su-85B, and the IKB-103 on the enemy team. And when it came to base XP, he's in third place because the chappie got 985, the T-67 789, and then hossballs managed 731. He only fired 13 rounds, very low count of ammunition fired to get 5 kills in the game. 6 direct hits on the enemy, 3 penetrating shots, and 8 splash. Just goes to show these rounds, these 4.5-inch rounds with a 450 alpha, which is basically the same howitzer you actually find on the FP304, and it's also the stock gun on the Crusader 5.5-inch SP. It does have really good penetration. He got 1,601 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He did receive 1 hit by way of splash from the enemy Fifi, who managed to work out where he was from seeing his tracer. 5 enemy vehicles were damaged, 5 were killed, and he actually made a loss on that game of 3,260 credits, mainly down to the fact that he had to pay full price for consumables, and that cost him 20,000 credits. Yes, if he'd actually bought the consumables up when they were half price, he wouldn't be paying that, and in fact, he would have made a positive on the game. But it was on a free-to-play account. He also made 731 XP as well, so it wasn't a completely loss. He said that the Leffy was cheating. I think the Leffy probably worked out from the tracer where he was. I don't think he actually had a red ball or red dot to actually work it out. I think he just guessed where hossballs was and fired on that spot. He kept firing until he lost interest because he wasn't getting any results after that. And no, I don't think it was a cheat, although we have seen cheats. This is not a cheat on this occasion. I think it was purely the tracer, because hossballs was firing from fairly close by, and he got the idea of where hossballs was from the damage he was doing. So very good games. An ace tanker in the first one on Sand River, and then a first class on Malinovka. Now, to kind of interest Klaus Kellerman, we will be doing more replays, more videos featuring the Bishop, and in fact featuring hossballs, because although he does have an unusual technique, he is very, very practiced at how he plays the Bishop, and therefore he's a good example to show to somebody else, yeah, that's how you can do it. That's how you can rack up massive scores using this little artillery. It's one of the more interesting SPGs because you have to get close, and therefore it's kind of dangerous, but it's a bit like Russian roulette in a sense. You do get a bit of a thrill, but there's always the chance you might be facing the enemy face to face, and then it can become very exciting. I hope you enjoyed both of those replays. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.